People are going there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, getting lit.
It's us. So, Guadalajara or Monterrey?
Oh, that's a very tough one. So Monterey is really under the radar. Imagine a place, Denver, Colorado. It's high in the mountains, but the most amazing views during the night overlooking the city, depending on where you are, which is the San Pedro Garza district. Monterey, a lot of brothers don't know, they have the most thickest, curviest Mexican girls that are on par with like Kim Kardashian type of build. Yes.
I'm gonna have to go over there, man.
Yeah, Middle Eastern, yes, very exotic. Again, Monterey is another sleeper. A lot of great steakhouses, really good tacos, street vendors. Fudon Park is a very cool place as well. I'm probably mispronouncing it bad, but they also have a river walk like San Antonio. So Monterey, very rich people there. Most English spoken city in Mexico is Monterrey. So it's very common to find a girl, middle class, beautiful, that speaks perfect English from a great family in Monterey. The quality in Monterey is up there, top level. We talked about Monterey and its versus Guadalajara. I would say Guadalajara, yes, the women are very beautiful, but I'm gonna say in Guadalajara, it's more of like, the fitness type of girls. So Monterey would be like thick down south. Guadalajara is more like LA, very on par with Los Angeles. Zapopan, another great place to stay. Nightlife in Guadalajara is probably number one in Mexico. It is lit like Vegas. Clubs don't close until 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and you get to bring the bottle of alcohol home with you.
I'm gonna have to check that out, man. Damn, I'm gonna have to check the whole Mexico out, man.
I'm telling you, every city has something very unique about it. Guadalajara has after hours, and they go hard when it comes to their nightlife. You're seeing not only a beautiful dector, but an actual performance. Fish tanks, the ceilings all decked out. It's literally Vegas at a discount. The best table section, bottles of tequila, whiskey, rum, mezcal, like Guadalajara has all that, endless. And then not only that, let's just say, you know what, QB? I'm not really of a nightlife type of guy. You have the parties in the tequila towns with DJs in the tequila farms. So people are going there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, getting lit. And this is famous all over in Mexico. You can take a bus out there so you don't have to drive, or an Uber, and it's drink until you get drunk and plastered nonstop.
Wow. So would you say that Mexicans are hard partiers? Like, do they party?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yes, definitely. But I would say more on obviously the weekends. So I would say out of all the places in Mexico where you can kind of party 24/7 would be Cancun, Playa del Carmen, obviously because of the tourists, but in Mexico, real Mexican culture, Guadalajara, you can find something, I would say, from a Tuesday through a Sunday that's going to be lit.
So that takes me into this next question. So how is the work to life balance out in Mexico? Are they more about like working to live, or the other way around?
So great question. There is a very strong middle class society in Mexico. you have families that have more money than you and I that can make passive income and just live a luxurious lifestyle, but they prefer to live in Mexico because it's less expensive compared to the States. So they have a good balance, I would say, for the most part, because even going to the places on vacation where tourists don't really go, you would see Mexicans from other places there. So one example would be Mazatlan. Most of the people that visit Mazatlan come from Guadalajara, Monterrey, Mexico City, but it's more the higher middle class type of families there. Now, the ones that are not in the middle class, yes, they're working literally 7 days a week, struggling, trying to make ends meet. But when you go into the affluent areas in Mexico, they're pretty much living like a lifestyle as Americans, if not a lot better.
And in your opinion, QB, as an American, how is the cost of living in Mexico? Is it more expensive than other Latin American countries, or is it on par? Is it less than?
So I would say you're getting probably about a 45% discount compared to the States. Mexico is going to be more expensive. I got the sun back on me. It's going to be more expensive than Colombia, Ecuador, but I will probably say around the same prices as Brazil, because it's the second highest GDP in all of Latin America behind Brazil. So here in California, prime example, if you want to live on a beach, that's going to be $2 million easily. A condo, probably $1.2 million. You can still get an affordable condo on the beach in Mexico for probably about $300,000, the cheapest. And let me get the lights on really quick, man. One second.
Man, the light has been your worst enemy today.
I know.
Holy shit. Damn. Let's go over these comments real quick. So Ronin Travelers said some with fat asses, round asses, and so want all types of shapes and sizes. I would assume. Yes is a major hub, like QB Passport is saying, so all types of women there. All right, and then 44 under says Monterrey pretty close to the U.S. border. Would you say there's a lot more Americans in Monterrey because it's so close to the American border, QB?
No, absolutely not. So Monterrey, it's not a border town. It's what I would say about 2.5 hours south of Laredo. So no, it's nothing like a border town. So where Americans are primarily is going to be Quintana Roo, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, that area.
Cancun,
yes, and then Condesa area in Mexico City. That's really it. You go to Monterrey, you go to another one, Cabo. You go to Mazatlan, you go to Guadalajara, you go to Monterrey, Mexicali, Tijuana. Even you're not going to see like an abundance of expats in those towns.
So speaking of expats, I've heard, I don't know how true it is, I've heard that Mexico has the largest population of U.S. expats currently living there. Mm-hmm. So my question for you, QB, would be, how do the Mexican locals feel about this? Are they okay with this, or is it kind of like what's going on in Colombia, for example, where they're kind of pushing back? They kind of hate the fact that there's a lot of U.S. expats there.
Right. So specifically in Mexico City, that's where they're getting the pushback in regards to the expats there. Because Americans are able to work remote, the local Mexicans can't afford to live in certain neighborhoods and the prices are getting higher. You go to a restaurant, you're getting your clothes serviced at the cleaners. It's a lot more because of the influence of expats. But here's the thing. Expats primarily in Mexico, they just really stay in one focused community. So it's not like they're targeting like the whole entire city. It's just a block probably within the community that they're very prevalent in.
Okay, yeah, man. I just needed to ask about that because I've seen videos about Mexican locals because I speak and
Hmm.
understand Spanish, and they complain a lot about the Americans going in there, ruining things, making things
Hmm.
more expensive for them. And like you said, Mexico is one of the most expensive countries in all Latin America. So I just wanted to know if the U.S. expats had anything to do with that.
Right. No, their economy is getting a lot better. Okay, the peso is pretty strong. You have China having their service, the maquiladoras, which is like the factories, and the same thing with the US. So, prime example, Tesla has a warehouse operation near Monterrey. So, you have high end engineers, service workers actually making Tesla cars in Monterrey and then shipping them back to the United States. And then also, Mexico has a train system that's going to compete with the Panama Canal. So,
Wow.
where you get from the Pacific side to the Atlantic side, I believe somewhere south, oh man, you can't quote me the town, but it goes from Veracruz to a city near Puerto Escondido, and you can ride that train, and now there's going to be cargo that's going to go from the Pacific side to the Atlantic side. So economically, Mexico is on par, being elite in Latin America. But because the cost of living is a little higher, I would argue and say the quality of life is a lot better as well. So I mentioned the parks, the beaches, very nice gated communities to live, or even, stay in an Airbnb compared to other places in Latin America.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just clear this up real quick. So, because we're saying it's expensive doesn't mean it's more expensive than the United States. You still get a lot of, bang for your buck compared to the United States. So you can get a much better apartment, live a much better life than what you would in America, but it's more expensive than other Latin American countries such as Colombia and Argentina that are much more affordable. So just thought I'll let you guys know that real quick.